Hey, it's Susan. Welcome to today's episode of War Crimes Unit. Hey, nice to see you. Boy, it's been a few weeks since I've done a video, been able to even do a video, and that is because of this jerk, FBI agent Joe out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Whoa, boy. I gotta tell you, people, he has been on a rampage for the last year. FBI agent Joe out of Las Vegas. Boy, I mean, the first time he concocted some stuff is when I escaped out of Alaska, out of Barrow, Alaska, and went into Reynosa, Mexico. Hit about 6 airports in about 24 hours. Wound up in Reynosa, Mexico, and then he called in and chewed me out, yelled at me, screamed at me, bitched at me. And talking about, slapping felony charges on me, what? Because I left the country? Joe? Well, look, asshole, the State Department gave me a passport, so fuck off. And then they were trying to steal my passport. He concocted a scam with local PD down there. But yeah, he has been on a roll. He has been hacking my nursing employment. He has been stealing my property. And you know what I think it is? I think the FBI headquarters, they are so desperate to keep control of this case. I think FBI headquarters has sicked this fucking FBI agent Joe on me as some kind of Sue's buster, take Sue's out. Or as a U.S. Border Patrol agent called down in Arizona, a black operation. Apparently this is a black operation. But he's pretty desperate for his agent's son to go to prison. And why would they be going to prison? Well, for the disappearance and or murder of an entire population of victim witnesses, and a lot of those people are my family, and for plea bargaining a person they consider to be a threat to national security out on a Homeland Security arrest. So Homeland Security arrests a guy that's considered to be a threat to national security, who unfortunately turned out to be my ex-boyfriend, and then, the FBI just lets them out. So they're in trouble for a lot of things. They're in trouble for a lot of foreign affairs issues. They hate it when I leave the country. They hate it when I go to Mexico, because here's the thing, they don't like other law enforcement or other countries to know their scams. So FBI agent Joe, he's been on a roll, so he's been hacking my nursing employment. Now, a similar pattern happened down in Indio, California, but I was able to scare the shit out of an ICU nurse manager when I told her that my boyfriend works for the Mexican federal government. Scared the living crap, scared the crap out of her. But they did this just most recently in Tucson, and they're doing it right now here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm working a 4-week contract at St. Vincent Hospital, which is part of the Christus system. And they're concocting the same crap that they did out of Tucson, showing a similar pattern into Indio, California. So here's what it is. They cannot get me for nursing practice reasons or clinical reasons or patient care because I'm too good of a nurse. They cannot get me for that. So what they did down in Tucson is that they are trying to get me to disclose something about my personal situation. And in doing so, somehow that put me out of a job down in Tucson. Strangely, of course, I lost my job when I went to Mexico. But I was fired from St. Joseph's Hospital down in Tucson, Arizona, after I disclosed personal information to the nurses at work. Well, the nurses at work were pressuring me to do so. I said I had a complicated situation regarding my missing child. So it's a very complicated issue. It's a foreign affairs issue. If you want to know about it, watch the War Crimes channel. War Crimes Unit channel on YouTube. Stuff on Amazon and so forth. And so they fired me because they said I was talking conspiracies. Well, it is a conspiracy in the fact that the FBI hasn't arrested their own agents like the U.S. Marshal Service told me that they could do about 4 years ago. That's a fucking conspiracy, right? So, they're doing everything to try to keep control of this case, and they're trying to do everything to prevent their own agents from going to prison. Well, let me tell you, I don't know what the hell the DOJ is going to do about this. Guy Eric Holder in charge, and the FBI is still up the ass of Eric Holder. But right now, FBI, your ass and your little task force are sitting in front of the International Criminal Court. This is your future. FBI, CIA, Al-Qaeda task force, the International Criminal Court, MP Dillon, for all the shit you have fucking caused. Okay? So your head's sitting on a platter. So the more you try to hurt me, the harder I can make your life, FBI agent Joe. So keep fucking with me. Okay, so here's what they're doing at St. Vincent's Hospital, same pattern. We've got nurses at work, a lot of them are travel nurses, and they are trying to get me to disclose personal information. There's a pregnant travel nurse at work, her name is Vanessa, who claims to be from Texas. Claims to have a high connection into Houston, as if she's, and the reason why she keeps emphasizing Houston, I know that what she's trying to do is she's trying to get me to say, oh, I have a Homeland Security ICE special agent named Paul Burkholder down in HSI. I know that's what she's trying to get me to do, and then that would precipitate more questions. Do you see? Oh yes, ICE has my case on Houston. I know that's why she's trying to bring up Texas so much, right? It's not because I don't even believe the fact that she's from Texas. I think she's just trying to get me to talk about Texas. And then of course she's pregnant, so then she asked me if I had a kid. Well, I lied to her and said I did not have a kid. See, that would shut her up right there. But the interesting part about it is that she kept pressuring me. I can't believe you don't have a kid. I can't believe you don't have a kid. And the look on her face was the look of somebody had told her otherwise. And she was hoping that I would start up a conversation about this. It was blatantly obvious. So what I've been doing is I've been lying to the nurses at work. Is that I will just lie to them because that will foil their sting operation or black operation or anything that they're getting paid off for by and through the FBI. And this is how they work. See, now, without local law enforcement knowing any different, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, giving my local PD and the sheriff's office the benefit of the doubt. I have, since I started, sent them the case history on this, but and I did see a nice police officer today in Santa Fe at Walmart. But, you know, okay, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But without them knowing any differently, it would be very, very easy for an FBI task force, it's Agent Joe and so forth, to hack somebody within local PD. And you know, they might even hit a rookie because, you know, all you gotta do is tell a rookie cop, hey, you know, hey, help us out on a federal case. They think that they're like the big guys, or they think they're going to get a position with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. You know, if they fuck Suze over, they concoct some kind of shit, whether it's damn human trafficking. It's the reason why it's human trafficking, because they made me a human trafficking victim by sticking that damn Mark Moore after me. But they're going to concoct some kind of shit, whether it's human trafficking or terrorism or some kind of crap, because FBI Agent Joe's trying to come up with some kind of shit because he's pissed off at me, right? So they're stinging the hospital. So it's really, really easy for the FBI to hack a local PD, whether it's police or within the sheriff's office, and then them turn around and hack the hospital. I mean, keep in mind that a lot of nurses are married to police officers. I work with a lot of nurses who are married to police officers in different cities and states, and especially the police. Very, very easy for this to be funneled through a hospital system. Now, I'm working up here in the ICU. Now, usually it's easier to do when I'm in the ER. When I'm working in the ER, because there's more ER nurses that are married to police officers than, say, nurses that might be married to local PD up in the ICU. But it's following the same pattern, because they did this in India as well. So they hack local law enforcement. Local law enforcement thinks they're working on a case with the FBI. And what they don't realize is that actually this is what a U.S. Border Patrol agent called a black operation. Most recently down in Nogales, Arizona, one of my Border Patrol agents called this a black operation, a government black operation. Border Patrol agent with a military background. So he would be somebody that would be an expert in these kinds of things. Black operation. So if you're helping the FBI, whether that's in Santa Fe, New Mexico, or in any other city or state or any other part of the country, the FBI is in big trouble, you're actually working in a conspiracy in their black operation to smoke show a terrorism case that they're already in trouble with by Homeland Security, by the U.S. Marshal Service, and by about 21 foreign countries, the UN and the International Criminal Court. Do you see? Okay, so anyway. I mean, you know what I mean? So don't do it. The trouble is that I don't think if I really don't think, you know, given the ethics that the healthcare profession has, I don't think that they would, if they had a deeper understanding of the situation, they probably wouldn't concoct this shit. But we're also dealing with the fact that a lot of nurses are married to police, and they're going to trust their boyfriends or husbands before they're ever going to trust me as a crime victim. So I just lie to the nurses. I tell them I don't have a kid. I tell them my family's fine. I did tell them that I represent Avon because I advocate for domestic violence victims. You know, I did say that. But as far as anything, personal going from there, they're trying to get information out of me. They've also sicked a boyfriend after me. There's the boyfriend, Bruce, who's the travel nurse that works for the same travel company that I work for. Of course, they have to send a boyfriend. They have to send an emergency boyfriend because what they're hoping is that something will happen in my life in which I would call him. This has occurred down in Tucson. This occurred down in Indio. They concocted a similar thing even up in Barrow, Alaska. So they want the boyfriend because the boyfriend would keep me busy. Because if the boyfriend keeps me busy, then I'm not going after my son, or I'm not lobbying Congress, or I'm not doing anything for my family as far as advocating for my family as far as justice goes. Do you see? Whether that would be with Congress here in the United States, with the media, or trying to get a media story, or under international law. See, they wouldn't do this. If they stick a boyfriend after me, that would keep me busy. I'm telling you, it's like, okay, so it's the same primary in the back end. So this is the FBI agent Joe in the Las Vegas FBI. And then different public players in the front end. If I have to plan out of Santa Fe and went to a different city or state, I'm sure my next contract's in Sacramento, California. I'm in the ER. I'm sure they're already concocting shit up there. I'm sure they are. So, they're never going to stop. Abusers never change. But the goal is to put me out of a job. And they can't put me out of a job for clinical reasons, so they put me out of a job for personal reasons, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they actually sick this Mark Moore after me. I wouldn't be surprised if he just automatically just showed up here in Santa Fe. There's been a lot of trends that seem to link back to this Mark Moore, and there was actually one guy who was using one of the public computers out here where I'm at the hotel I'm staying at a few days ago, actually brought up Morgan Stanley. Well, Mark Moore claimed to actually work for Morgan Stanley. I mean, out of all investor groups that you could possibly come up with, you have to say Morgan Stanley. And every time I went out, and thank God I got this computer now, because every time I went out and used this public computer, there was always a damn jackass sitting right there trying to get into my business. And what they would do, there would be two computers sitting right next to each other. So I would be sitting here one computer, the other person would be sitting next to another computer. They were trying to figure out what I was doing, whether I was on the phone or on the computer. So what they would do is that they would be sitting here, I'd be sitting here, and the printer would be here. They would print out something there, and then so they could walk behind me, see my computer screen, and then walk over and pick up their piece of paper. What they were really trying to do is see what I was looking at on the computer. You see, so I'm surrounded by these fucking undercover jackass fucking spies. This damn FBI agent Joe is fucking sick of. It's so fucking blatantly obvious. They've hacked the hotel. One of the guys that takes me to work, they have a hotel shuttle here. One of the guys that takes me to work keeps getting into my personal business. The guy at night is some like French guy. And this French guy, last time I was out at the public computers, and he stopped and wanted to ask me personal questions. I told him I said I was busy. And I managed to dodge away from him before he could get into my personal business. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious he's an undercover. You're undercover somebody or somebody that's being paid off by FBI agent Joe. But you know what? I mean, the only way for me to get away and out of this abusive situation is to get out of nursing. I mean, it's a shame because I have a bachelor's degree in nursing. I'm an excellent ICU and ER nurse. But it's very, very difficult for me to work within the healthcare system because the FBI, CIA, Al-Qaeda task force hacks everything within the hospital systems, and then I hate actually going to the hospital because then I have to deal with all of these nurses and doctors and all their fucking goddamn crap. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, there's a nursing shortage. I wouldn't mind picking up a shift once in a while, but every time I go to work, they make my life hell. And what they usually do is I can only get a contract, a travel nurse contract in the districts in which they can conduct this sting operation or this black operation. I can never seem to get a job anyplace else, whether that's a staff position, an working agency, or working as a travel nurse. So this is all a setup. Hopefully one day I'll get out of it. I mean, if I could get out of my abusive situation, not be a nurse anymore, working in a clinical setting, that would significantly help me keeping away from this, from this police brutality case. But FBI agent Joe concocting shit in Santa Fe, he'll do it again. Anyway, that's today's episode of War Crimes Unit. Keep your stun gun or machine gun handy. There's real criminals and terrorists out there. And don't forget to check out the short story behind the saga. It's on Amazon Kindle, called Genocide, America's Love Affair with Al-Qaeda. The 20-year saga of a man ICE can't deport because of everyone else. Is available for 99 cents. Gives a history on all of the missing witnesses. That's today's episode. Have a good one. I'll see you next time.